Namaste. When you're ready, let's start class today in relaxation in our Shavasana. Making sure that you're comfortable and that you're warm. As you settle down in a comfortable position, just so that we can start to relax. Arranging your feet, legs comfortably, maybe taking a bend in the knees, placing the soles of the feet onto the floor. I want to arrange our arms and hands comfortably, just to encourage our shoulders to relax, our chest to open. And start to breathe nice and steadily in and out through your nose or through your mouth. Gradually starting to lengthen your inhale and your exhale. Maybe seen here, if you can take your in-breath to 3 counts on the way in and on the way out. Really starting to feel your breath today. Feeling your breath coming up, down the throat. Perhaps hearing the ocean sound as you breathe. Allowing the mind to settle. Just letting go of any needs and demands from earlier or later today or this week or next week. Observe the back body sinking down into the earth. Continue to soften the body, observing how the whole body is feeling. Observing your shoulders, hips, knees, feet and toes. Maybe just focusing on an area of the body that needs a little bit of help today. Seeing if you can send your breath consciously into that space. Very carefully, very slowly in the next breath or two, start to take a bend in the knees, draw the thighs up over the chest, interlace the fingers, the hands around your knees, around your shins, and as you guide the thighs a little bit closer in towards the front of your body, just see if it feels okay to gently rock from side to side, just observing the lumbar spine gently curving but squeezing it into the front of the belly, into the hips. Just allowing the eyes to close if that feels okay. Bring the knees back to centre. Separate the fingers and hands. And cup the right kneecap with the right hand, left kneecap with the left hand. Fingertips point down towards the toes. And Keeping the hands in this position, just start to draw some circles, circling the knees out to the side and drawing back to centre. As we start to open up through the hips, releasing tight hip flexors, stretching out the lower back, and get a nice massage into the belly. And just taking care today not to take these circles too wide, just finding what feels good and what feels comfortable. Let's change direction of the circles when you're ready. So opposite rotations with the knees. And then bring the knees back to centre. Release the soles of the feet down onto the floor. As you release the soles of the feet onto the floor, just separate the knees so that the feet are the width of your mat. As you do that, you might want to rearrange through the lower back a little bit more, making sure the lower back feels comfortable. We've got that lovely long length through the spine. We're still opening the chest, softening and releasing the shoulder blades down into the earth. Take the arms alongside the body, palms facing downwards, and gradually just tuck the chin down towards the chest so we keep that length through the spine, up through the neck, up through the crown of the head. With the knees to centre, let's take a nice inhale here. And as you exhale, start to take both the knees over towards the right. So the left lower back starts to come off the mat slightly. But don't force the knees down onto the floor. Allow them to find their natural resting position. Inhale, bring the knees back to centre. And as you exhale, it's time to take the knees over towards the left. So the right lower back starts to come off the mat, and remembering not to force the knees down onto the floor. So gradually start to repeat this rotation from side to side, just starting to increase the space along the right and the left side of the body. Get a nice rotation around the spine, so already starting to bring a detoxing element into our class today, and increasing the space in between our vertebrae, just releasing any stagnant energy that may be caught up there. Stretching out through the belly and the lower back. After our next exhale, allow the knees to come back to centre. And then from here, just bring the knees a little bit closer towards one another so the heels are in line with the knees. Knees are hip width apart. Palms facing down towards the earth, still softening and releasing through the shoulders, chest nice and open. Or we've not lost that quality, that safety quality of the neck. So tuck the chin down towards the chest. As we inhale, let's start to take the arms up and over to where it feels comfortable today. So not forcing the arms to go all the way over, that doesn't feel comfortable for you. Just allow them to come into their natural resting position. Just starting to warm up around the shoulders, across the top of the back and the chest. And still freeing up spaces in between our vertebrae along the spine, the sides of the body. Here we're going to come into our flowing bridge pose. So if taking the arms overhead isn't comfortable for you today, release the arms alongside the body, palms facing downwards. And as we inhale, we're going to push down into the feet. Start to lift the lower back. Push the tummy, the centre of the chest towards the sky. Keep the arms alongside the body. Rotate the arms overhead. As you exhale, you release the whole back body down onto the mat if the arms are static alongside the body. Or you release the arms and hands to match what's going on with the back. Inhale, take the arms and hands overhead if that feels comfortable. Push down into the feet, lifting up through the belly, the chest, lift the hips off the mat. Exhale. So continue with this. Just look at your knees if you can. Just look down towards your knees. Just checking they're not splaying open too far apart. So this pose really starts to work into those deep core abdominal muscles, into the pelvic floor, and naturally the body wants to take the easiest way to do this pose. So the knees start to splay out to the sides. If you can keep the knees in line with the hips, it works. A few more here. Into the front of the thighs, into the quads there. Really feeling that into the front of the legs, into the belly. Let's make this our last exhale, slowly releasing the whole back body down onto the mat, releasing arms and hands. And then from here, let's come into our nice counter pose. Let's draw the knees up over the chest into a self-embrace as you gently rock from side to side. Bring the knees back to center. Raise your right arm. Keep that right arm elevated as you roll all the way over onto your right side and rest here for a moment with your head on that raised arm. Catch the breath. Take a nice full inhale here. And a nice smooth exhale. Start to bring attention and awareness into your left fingers, your left hand. When you're ready, push down into the hand. Use a hand to steady yourself as you slowly, carefully push all the way up. We're going to come into a pose that works our core abdominal muscles a little bit more. So we're going to take some padding for the lower back. So find your blanket and fold it a couple of times. We're going to use the same blanket for our knees in a moment. And as you fold up the blanket, come to sitting on the edge of the blanket. I'd like to come down on to your elbows. So knees bent, soles of the feet onto the floor. Just using the elbows, forearms behind you just to keep you propped up. Keep the palms facing down towards the mat. As you do that, draw the shoulder blades down and extend out through your chest. Draw the knees up over the chest, and as you do that, gather in a band around the belly. Draw the navel in towards the spine. Keep those core abdominals switched on. We're going to inhale here, and as we exhale, take both the knees over towards the left and extend through the legs if you can. Inhale, bring the knees back to center. Exhale, take both the knees over towards the right, extending through the legs if you can. So it's really quite important here that we keep pushing down through the elbows and lifting the chest. We keep gathering around the belly as we take the knees from side to side and extend. Keeping the chest nice and straight so the top part of our torso don't start to rotate with the hips and the legs. Starting to feel that working into those core abdominal muscles, into the front of the legs. Let's do a few more from side to side. And then after our next exhale, just bring the knees and the feet in front of you. Come all the way up. Take a seated child's pose. Hug the knees in. Just lower the forehead down onto the back of your forearms. Just lengthen through the spine. Just feel that. Just relieving out through the front of the body, front of the belly. Inhale here. As you exhale, slowly, carefully coming all the way up. Just picking your head and forehead off the back of your forearms, your wrists, coming all the way up slowly, carefully. So release the knees. And we're going to come into a comfortable tabletop position. We're going to come into Ardha Vashisthasana, so half side plank, a pose that we've done before. So with that folded blanket that we had for our last pose, just keep the blanket underneath the knees, come onto all fours. You want the wrists directly underneath the shoulders, spread the fingers apart, draw the inner elbows in to face one another, and as you look down at your knees, the knees should be hip width apart. Push the earth away, you've got nice space from the shoulders to the ears, and keep your gaze down towards that nice length through the spine. So Ardha Vashisthasana, I'm going to take my right foot out to the side. So that right foot is going to act as like a tripod. And from here I'm going to push my left foot all the way to the back of the mat. I'm going to rotate round on that left big toe and then push the whole of the left foot down into the floor. So if you have got socks on, you need to remove socks now. Keep yoga sticky socks on if that's okay. Push down into the outer edge of that foot. And then from here, if you feel comfortable through that right knee, that left foot, we're going to come all the way up to our half side plank. You rotate through the body, you're going to take that left arm up, goes up to that left hand. Draw the navel in towards the spine as you push the hips forward. So this might be enough, looking up towards that hand, or directly at me on your television or on your computer. If you want to take it one stage further, you're going to see if you can start to lift up that left leg, extending out through that left leg. Point the toes and start to circle. So small circles, keeping the navel in towards the spine. And then change direction of those circles. Really feeling that working into the glutes and the lower back. Release that left foot down, slowly, carefully release that left hand. Bring your right foot in and take the left knee down. So we're going to try that on the other side. So ensuring that you've got that space from the shoulders to the ears, that lovely length through the spine. Take your left foot out this time, that acts as your prop, your tripod. Push the right foot back. Rotate round on the right big toe and take the whole of the flat of the right foot into the mat. Push down into the outer edge of that leg. Keep that leg nice and engaged as you shift the weight into the left knee, left hand. Fully rotate out towards the right side of the body. Take the right arm up, goes up to the right hand. Navel towards the spine as you push the hips forward. Check the hand, the wrist, the knee feels okay. If you want to take it one stage further, see if you can raise up through that right leg and point the toes. And then we're going to see if you can start to circle through the right leg, pointing the toes away. Don't lose that connection around the belly. And then change direction of that rotation when you're ready. Release the right foot down onto that, push in the flatness of that right foot. That keeps you balanced and stable to release that right hand down. From here, bring the left foot round. Take a bend in the right knee. Take your child's pose, sit the hips down towards the heels, or take a seated child's pose if the knees are tired. Extend out through the arms. Draw some lovely circles through the wrists, hands and fingers. Inhale here. As you exhale, slowly, carefully, come all the way up. We're going to come into a couple of rounds of cat-cow curls and then straight into downward facing dog. So if you need some protection for the knees, have some protection there for the knees, but bear in mind that you might need to move it out of the way when you come into your downward facing dog. Keep removing the socks, unless you've got your special yoga sticky socks on. Let's find our way back onto all fours. So looking after the hands, wrists and fingers as well as we can by spreading the fingers apart. Wrists again are directly underneath the shoulders. Push the earth away. Find that lovely length through the spine, through the neck, through the crown of the head as you keep your gaze down towards the earth. As you inhale, let's sink down into cow. So drop the belly, lift the sternum and your gaze forward. As you exhale, exhale into your cat. Arch the back, take the gaze down towards that. So repeat this slowly, carefully. Just be mindful that those shoulders don't start to creep up around the ears. Keep pushing the earth away. Of course, if it's too much for the wrists, take a break, sit down into your child's pose again, just to draw some lovely wrist circles moving around through the fingers. Send that length again that we're creating along the side body, along the length of the spine, up around the shoulder blades, the neck, the ears, around the rib cage, around the belly, around the heart space. And after your next exhale, make your way back into a lovely neutral spine. Remove the blanket from your knees, tuck the toes under, sink the weight back into the feet, come up into your downward facing dog. Adjust the hands and feet as you need to. Let's walk the dog here, lightly tread each heel down towards the earth. We're going to come into three lovely dog into a couple of step throughs today. So come back into your static downward facing dog. Shift the weight into the right foot. Lift up with that left leg. Put the left toes down towards the mat. So we've been doing this the last couple of weeks. We know the transition that we needed to make. Take a bend in the left knee. Shift the weight over the hands. And step through with that left hand if you can. If you can't quite get that left foot there, use your left hand to gently place it there. And we're going to come all the way down onto our right knee. So have the blanket close by if you need to. Sink that right knee down. Uncurl the right foot so the top of the right foot is on the floor. And then slowly, carefully, we're going to come all the way up. We're going to take our hands onto our left thigh. Take the hands onto the left thigh. Open the chest. And keep the navel away from that thigh. So keep pushing away. And we're starting to stretch out through that front of that right thigh there. Right hip. Draw the shoulder blades down, almost puffing out through the chest. Breathe. From here we're going to release the hands down to frame that left foot. And I'm just going to start to walk the left foot all the way up to the edge of the mat. So my left hand is moved. I'm going to move my left hand and bring my left hand inside of that left foot. So my left shoulder is on the inside left knee. We're going to find our way into lizard pose. So from here you've got an option to keep that right knee down, or if you want some engagement through that right leg, tuck the toes under and lift that right knee. And then see here if this is enough. Keep extending out through the crown of the head. Find your lizard pose here. We'll see if it's possible to come down onto your elbows. Breathe. So a deep stretch through the hip flexors there, finding that length through the spine. Very energizing pose. Come back up onto your hands. From here, engage with that right leg, lift that right knee off the blanket if it's been down. Let's step back into our downward facing dog. Push the blanket over to the left hand side. We're going to try this on the other side. Come into downward facing dog, walk the dog here. Just in hands and feet. Take a break if you need to. the weight into the left foot, reach up with that right leg. Toes down towards the earth. Take a bend in the right knee, shift the weight over the hands, carefully step that right foot in between the hands. Remember, if the foot doesn't quite get there, use your right hand to place it there. Find your left hand onto the blanket and lower safely that left knee down. So coming into our low lunge. Uncurl that left foot, so the top of the left foot is on the floor behind you. And if you feel okay through that left knee, the right foot, come all the way up, take your hands onto your right thigh. You want to draw the shoulder blades down, open the chest, keep the navel away from that thigh, and just sink down into that left hip flexor and breathe. From here to forward, frame that right foot with your hands. Start to walk the right foot all the way up to the edge of the mat as you bring that right hand inside of that right foot. So the right shoulder blade is inside that right foot. We've got a couple of options here with the left knee. You can keep it here, or you can tuck the toes under that left leg, engage through that left leg. Your lizard pose today may take this stance, a little bit of a high lizard pose, but this might be enough for your hips and your back and your chest. Or maybe sink all the way down, coming down onto your forearms, your elbows. Keep lengthening and breathing. Come back up onto your hands. Activate and push down through the toes to lift that left knee up off the blanket. Then we're going to push back to down facing dog. Move your blanket totally off your mat now. And come back into walking the dog. Static downward facing dog. Nice active shoulders, drawing the ribs towards the top of the thighs, releasing totally out through the neck, releasing the crown of the head towards the floor. Bend the knees, look towards your hands. Take as many steps as you need today. Tilt the feet towards the hands, hands towards the feet. Coming into our Uttanasana, our forward fold. So maybe taking the hands to the inner elbows, making that lovely box shape as you gently rock from side to side. Maybe you don't want to do that today, but you want to take a bend in the knees, maybe take the hands around the back of the calves. Draw the chest towards the thighs, releasing again through the neck and the crown of the head. Breathing deeply into the upper back body. Find your breath. Releasing hands from the inner elbows, releasing the hands back down onto the front of your legs. We're going to press down into the feet and start to stack each vertebrae on top of one another as we come all the way up. So the fingers, the hands, the arms are heavy. Bend the knees to look after the back. Looking after your blood pressure as we transition back to standing. The last thing to come up will be your neck and your head, and then you're able to straighten out. Through the legs, straighten out through the knees. And then come to face me. Let's come into a super Tadasana, or mountain pose, a nice active mountain pose. Helps us feel centered and grounded. So look down at your feet, make sure the feet are hip width apart. And really think about the connection of your toes and the four corners of the feet to the earth. Just to wiggle around through the toes, the ankles. As you start to root down through the soles of your feet, draw that energy, that Pada Bandha energy all the way up through the legs. So activate the legs, lift the kneecaps. Thighs are nice and firm, pelvis neutral. Drawing the ribs away from the pelvis. Lifting up through the chest, up through the spine, the neck, the crown of the head. We open the chest and sink the shoulder blades down the back, so the hands are just alongside the thighs. From here, let's extend our arms all the way up to the sides. Fingertips up towards the sky. We're going to interlace our fingers and then push the palms of the hands all the way up towards the sky. We're going to inhale here. As we exhale, we'll take a nice side bend over towards the right. Where it's comfortable, but don't stop breathing. Keep breathing into this super side bend. Inhale here as we exhale. Slowly, carefully coming back to center. Swap the fingers, the hands around. Keep pushing, extending up through the arms and the hands. Inhale here as you exhale. Take your side bend over towards the left. So finding that length through the right side of the body. Keep breathing into the super side stretch. And just observing whether this side is maybe tighter than the other. Maybe both sides both feel tight, or maybe they both feel okay. Lengthening, creating that lovely space. Inhale here. As you exhale, come all the way back to center. Once we're back to center, slowly, carefully separate the fingers, the hands. Releasing arms and hands all the way back alongside the body. We're going to come into a comfortable wide stance. Come into a different extended side angle pose, one that really opens the chest and the side body. So from here, make sure your stance isn't too wide that you feel unbalanced. If you do, bring the stance slightly shorter. And turn the toes on your right foot out, and turn the toes on your left foot in. From here, let's come into our Virabhadrasana 2 legs. So take a nice bend through that right knee, ensuring the knee safely stacked directly above the ankle. Pushing down into the outer edge of that left foot. Nice, strong, active legs. From here, turn your hips and your ribs towards the front without losing the integrity of that right knee. And extend out through the right arm. And then from here, we're just going to bend through the right arm at the elbow. We're going to start to lean over towards the top of that right thigh. With your left hand, place your left hand on your left rib cage. Draw that shoulder back. Keep that hand there. Inhale here. As you exhale, start to straighten through that right leg and open up and lengthen out through that right arm. Inhale slowly. Use that full length of the breath to bring that right elbow towards the right thigh. Exhale. Good. Seeing how keeping that hand on that left rib cage just keeps the spine and the torso in the position that I need it to be. So we've got that lovely length through the spine, and we've got the best way for energy just to travel through the spine and through the body. If we were to tip forward, then it wouldn't look or feel right energetically. Couple more here. Last one. So take a bend in that right knee. Let's release that left hand to left thigh. Take the right arm up and over into our reverse warrior. Sink down through the hips, through that right knee, and start to just release out through the right side of the body. Left hand is lightly on left thigh. Inhale in. As we exhale, come all the way up. Release through that right arm. Let's swap the feet round. So bring the right foot in. Take the left foot out. Carefully take a nice bend through that left knee. Knees in line with the ankle. You can see the big toe. Pushing down now into the outer edge of that right foot. So we've got nice strong legs. Turn the hips and the ribs towards me without losing the integrity of that left knee. We're going to outstretch our left arm. Take a bend in the left elbow as you lean over towards the left thigh, and with your right hand, place the right hand on your right rib cage, just to draw that shoulder back and to keep that side of the body open. Inhale in, exhale. Outstretch the arm, straighten through that left leg. Inhale, use the full length of the breath to bring that left elbow back towards the left thigh. Observe how it feels on this side. See that. That's our last one. Inhale. Exhale. Release that right hand. Take a bend in the left knee. Left hand to left thigh. Raise that left arm up and over. Sink down through the hips into that left knee. Reverse warrior. Just release it out through the left rib cage. Finding that space. Inhale. As you exhale, come all the way up. Release that left hand. Straighten up through that left knee. Bring the feet inside. We're going to come into a variation of goddess pose with a twist. So bring the feet in slightly. Make sure they don't feel too far apart. And from here, we're going to bring the heels in towards one another. The toes out towards the top two corners of your mat. Draw the navel in towards the spine as you start to squat down into your goddess pose. So just to prevent the lumbar spine arching, draw the navel in, sink the tailbone down, just take your hands onto your thighs. Just take a moment to get comfortable here, as comfortable as you can. Just allow the spine to lengthen for a moment, soften and release the shoulder blades. And bring the hands in front of the thighs if you can. From here, we're going to tip forward slightly. You're going to press down into the right hand. As you press down into the right hand, you start to draw the left shoulder blade forward, and you start to rotate round towards the right. So keep breathing, keep squatting. Inhale here. As you exhale, slowly, carefully come back to centre. Let's swap sides. So let's push down into the left hand. As you do that, you start to bring the right shoulder in towards the centre. You can start to take your gaze over towards the left. Keep squatting down, keep breathing into this rotation into your goddess pose. Inhale here. As you exhale, push into the hands, bring the spine back to neutral. Push into the feet, slowly, carefully come all the way up. Well done. Really feel that in the inner thighs. Heel toe back to centre. So our last standing pose is Vrikasana, or our tree pose, so a balance. So let's find our Tadasana, feet directly underneath the hips. Sensing a connection with the toes and the four corners of the feet down into the earth. And for our tree pose, our Vrikasana, our feet are very much the roots of our tree. So really sense that as you root down, you draw that energy up. Nice active legs, lift the kneecaps. Start to lengthen and extend all the way out through the spine, out through the crown of your head. Got this nice opening across the chest. Sinking the shoulder blades down, release the arms and hands alongside the body. We're going to shift the weight into the right foot. As we do that, we're going to bend up the left knee. We're going to open up through this left hip by taking the left knee all the way out to the side. And then draw the left big toe a little bit closer so we can just balance that left heel just above the right heel. So we're in the start of our tree pose. So we've got a couple of options here. You can stand here, make sure the front of your hips are pointing towards the front of the room, directly down the front of your mat. You can take your hands here, or maybe you want to grow the branches of your tree out from your wrists, hands and fingers. This might be enough. You might want to start to slide that left foot up the standing right leg, so below or above the knee. Maybe it's possible to get to here today. Find your drishti point, something that you can concentrate on, something that helps you with your concentration, your breathing. If you start to wobble, don't worry. Just imagine and think of yourself as a tree in the wind. It might be possible today to get that left foot a little bit higher on your right inner thigh. So remember, above or below the knee. And reaching out through the branches of your tree again, your hands and your fingers. Let's take a couple of nice deep breaths here. Inhale, as you exhale, release that left foot down onto the floor. Release arms and hands. Let's try that on the other side. So back into our Tadasana. Moving around through the feet, the roots of your tree. Rooting down, drawing the energy up. Taking a moment just to allow the spine to lengthen. Soften and release the shoulders, keep the chest open. Shift the weight to the left foot. Bend up through the right knee. Take your right knee out to the side and draw the right big toe a little bit closer so you can take that right heel just above your left ankle. I've got a nice opening through the right hip. The front of your hips are pointing down the front of your mat. And just decide whether you like to take this pose with your hands here. Or maybe you want to grow the branches of your tree, take up, lengthen through the arms, the wrists, hands and fingers. Find your drishti point, breathe. Maybe start to slide that right foot up the standing left leg, below or above the knee. Maybe this is enough, that's fine. Keep breathing, keep smiling. Or maybe take that right foot up a little bit higher into the inner left thigh as you still open up through that right thigh, right hip. Grow the branches of your tree. Quieten the mind. Inhale here as you exhale. Just start to release that right leg. Maybe the arms have already released, that's fine. Release the arms and hands. Take the hands on your hips, bend your knees. Let's draw lovely hip circles. Come back to center, change direction when you're ready. Come back to center, push down to the feet, straighten the legs, and release arms and hands. And let's get ready for our final Shavasana. So finding socks, a jumper. Taking a moment to find that comfortable supine position. Down into your final Shavasana. Surrendering the body to the earth. Arranging legs and feet, arms and hands comfortably. Maybe taking a bend in the knees. Maybe Keep bending the elbows and just cradling the lower abdomen with the hands. Allowing the eyes to close. As you start to make your way into Shavasana, start to release through the features of your face. Releasing your forehead and your eyes, the eyebrow, space in between the eyes, your cheekbone. Unclench the jaw, releasing the tongue into the base of the mouth. Integration of our practice here this evening, or here today. Mind, body, spirit. Breathe in deeply and breathe out completely. Continue to do this as you connect with the universal breath, the divine flow that sustains us. Know that you are loved. Breathe in that love and breathe out your own love to share with the world. Continue to breathe love in and out to sustain your wellness. Take your consciousness through your body and direct your breath to remove any stress and boost your energy. Remain in balance so that you can give your unique gifts to the world. Breathe love in and out whenever you need to find calm and sustenance. Choose health, peace. Whatever else it is you want, and breathe it into your being. Carefully and very slowly, just start to bring awareness back into the room. Back onto your body, resting on the earth. Bring some small movements into your hands and your feet, fingers and toes. Circling around through the wrists and the ankles, spreading apart through the fingers. If it feels okay, just carefully take the arms up and overhead. And start to find that lovely full body stretch here today. Stretching all the way from your fingertips down through the body, legs, feet and toes. Release the arms. Start to take a bend in the knees. Draw the knees up over the chest into a self-embrace. And gently rock from side to side. Bring the knees back to centre. Raise up your right arm. Keep that arm elevated as you roll all the way over onto your right side. Just rest your head on that raised arm. Allow yourself to take a little fuller inhale and a little fuller exhale. Carefully, slowly, in your own time, take awareness and attention to your left finger's left hand. Push down into that left hand, using that hand to steady yourself. As you slowly, carefully come all the way up to seated. So find a comfortable seated position on your cushion from your sofa, on your yoga block if you have one, or maybe your blanket. You might want the legs to be crossed, the legs extended all the way out in front. Ensure that you adjust for your sitting bones comfortably, that you have a nice, comfortable seat. Going to release the arms and hands, the back of the hands just to rest on our thighs, or maybe the hands just to rest on your lap if your legs are extended out in front. And I'd like you to invite you to chant with me one Om if you wish. So allow the eyes to close if that feels comfortable. Still got that lovely length through the spine. Release the shoulders, releasing any tension in the body. Take a nice deep inhale in. And as you exhale, thank you for joining me in your practice today. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste.